In early 2026, Iran sought to choke the Strait of Hormuz to Western warships, but instead, they inadvertently built a massive ghost graveyard with their own hands. There's just one problem. They've laid thousands of deadly mines, and now they don't even know where they are. Today, we examine how 20% of the global oil supply turned into a game of Russian roulette, and how US minesweepers are hunting these invisible killers. This is WarSpective, and if you're ready, we're heading down into the dark waters of Hormuz. It all began in the early months of 2026 as regional tensions reached a breaking point. Following operations by the US and its allies on February 28th, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, the IRGC, had only one card left: turning the Strait of Hormuz into a corridor of death. But this wasn't the meticulous strategic mining you read about in military textbooks. According to reports from the New York Times, the IRGC teams were in a state of pure panic. Under normal conditions, every mine's GPS coordinates are recorded with centimeter precision, ensuring your own ships can navigate safely once the conflict ends. But in March, everything changed. To block Western warships, IRGC units abandoned coordinates, they abandoned patterns, they abandoned record-keeping entirely. Speedboats and makeshift fishing dhows literally hurled massive explosives into the sea at random. It wasn't just locking the door, it was throwing the key into the abyss and then forgetting where the door was in the first place. US intelligence reports summarize the effort in a single word: chaotic. Iran wanted to bring the world to its knees, but instead, they trapped their own navy and their own economy in a backyard full of hidden triggers. But there was one thing Iran didn't account for, a force that no radar or missile could ever stop: geography. The Strait of Hormuz isn't just the world's narrowest waterways, it's notorious in maritime circles for its brutal currents. The narrow structure of the strait acts like a funnel, compressing the water and forcing it to move at terrifying speeds. In the heat of the panic, most of these mines weren't properly anchored to the seabed, a direct violation of standard military procedure. And for the ones that were fixed, their mooring chains were far too weak to withstand the shifting deep-sea currents. The result? A ghost mine crisis, where thousands of explosives are now drifting, completely untethered beneath the waves. This is where the technical nightmare begins. A modern minesweeper can clear a path today, but only 24 hours later, those powerful currents can drift a mine from miles away right back into that safe corridor. It has turned Hormuz into the world's most expensive and most dangerous table of Russian roulette. Today, nearly 20% of the global oil supply and trillions of dollars in trade is trapped behind an invisible wall built by Iran, but now controlled by nature. And the irony? These mines no longer care about flags. Because they've drifted off course, they now threaten Iran's own tankers and their own supply lines. The trap they set for the world has effectively locked them in their own ports. While modern navies flex their muscles with multi-billion-dollar destroyers, Iran focused on a much more sinister and harder-to-stop method: the Mosquito Fleet. Having lost a large portion of their traditional warships in the early phases, the IRGC shifted their strategy entirely toward asymmetric warfare. At the heart of this strategy lie the Ashura, the Tundar, and the legendary Boghammer-class speedboats. With their fiberglass hulls, they are nearly invisible to radar. These boats don't carry high-tech sensors or complex firing systems. Their greatest weapons are their size and their speed. Moving in a swarm, these boats overwhelm advanced radar systems, creating a visual chaos that makes target selection nearly impossible. But the most shocking part? Their method of mining. Instead of high-tech rails or automated release mechanisms, they use a method that is terrifyingly old school: the stern drop. The technique is chillingly simple. Massive explosives are secured to the rear decks with basic ropes or makeshift metal rails. Under the cover of night or hiding behind the silhouettes of civilian fishing dhows, these boats slip into the main shipping lanes. Once they hit the target zone, the crew literally pushes these tons of lethal cargo into the sea by hand. It takes seconds. After the drop, the boats hit speeds of 50 to 60 knots, vanishing back into the safety of the rocky cliffs and caves along the Iranian coast. It's like a hunter trying to kill a giant elephant, not with a bullet, but with thousands of tiny bee stings. While radars are scanning the horizon for a massive warship, these small shadows emerge from the darkness, plant their time bombs beneath the surface, and disappear without a trace. The U.S. quickly realized that playing hide-and-seek with thousands of mines in the shallow waters of Hormuz was a losing game. Instead of staying on the defensive, they fundamentally shifted their doctrine to preemptive denial. The goal was simple: destroy the hand holding the mine and the warehouse where it was stored before the explosive ever touched the water. This wasn't guesswork. It was the result of a massive intelligence web. High up, RC-135 rivet joint aircraft were vacuuming up every radio signal and data transmission, while P-8 Poseidons used advanced synthetic aperture radar to track the smallest movements in Iranian ports. Thanks to this pinpoint intel, 16 motherships and hundreds of speedboats, the very backbone of the mining operation, were tagged before they even left the dock. When the strike window opened, the U.S. military applied the dual target doctrine. Simultaneously, they hit the ships at the pier and the concrete bunkers where the mines were stockpiled. 2,000-pound GBU-31 bunker busters dropped from B-1B Lancers, turning warehouses into dust, while Tomahawk missiles sent moored ships to the bottom. It was a logistical catastrophe. Iran still had its speedboats and its brave crews, but they didn't have a single mine left to load. The gunslinger was standing in the street, but his bullets had been destroyed before he could even reach for his holster. But one specific technology truly shattered Iran's strategy: the MQ-9 Reaper drone and its lethal claws, the Hellfire missile. Soaring at 50,000 feet, far above the sound of its own engine, these sky hunters became invisible executioners for Iran's agile speedboats. But how? How do you hit a small fiberglass boat zigzagging at 70 miles per hour? The secret lies in the Reaper's nose, the MTSB multispectral targeting system, and the Lynx multimode radar. This system can track the tiniest heat signature or metallic reflection through the dead of night or the thickest sea spray, with millimetric precision. When the order to strike, the AGM-114 Hellfire missiles take the stage. Screaming toward their targets at 1.3 times the speed of sound, these missiles lock on in a matter of seconds. Thanks to semi-active laser guidance, they never lose sight of the tiny red dot painted by the drone. The explosions you see in these images are no accident. These missiles calculate the boat's speed, its heading, and its frantic evasive maneuvers, updating their flight path in midair in real time. The result is total technological annihilation. With a cold-blooded pull of a trigger by an operator thousands of miles away, the Iranian Navy lost 60 of its most elite vessels and submarines in just 10 days. Ships like the Joshin, the Sahand, and the Sabalan, no matter how large or how fast, could not outrun this silent, unstoppable death from above. Today, the waters of Hormuz are not just filled with drifting mines, they are littered with the wreckage of a navy that looked powerful on paper but stood helpless against the machines. The crisis in the Strait of Hormuz serves as a grim reminder. Modern war is not won simply by having the most weapons. It is won by the strategic mind that controls them. Iran's reckless mining campaign will go down in military history as a classic case of strategic suicide. A power that set out to secure its own borders ended up burying global trade, its neighbors, and most importantly, its own future beneath the waves. As it stands today, the Strait of Hormuz is no longer just a waterway dictating the flow of oil. It is a massive underwater arsenal filled with thousands of unclaimed, unmapped, and unstable explosives. Experts warn that clearing these ghost mines could take decades, and until then, the global economy remains one heartbeat away from a catastrophic shock. Thank you for watching. Crafting these deep dives takes a significant amount of time and effort, and as we are just starting out, we are still in the phase of growing and learning. Your support means the world to us, so please consider subscribing to the channel and liking this video to help us grow. But more importantly, what do you think about the future of the Strait? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. See you in the next video.